Okay, so today I'm joined by Rodney Peterson, also known as Not Logan Paul. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to have you on. Just a little behind the scenes. We've been talking for a while now, even before this lawsuit just got filed, which we're also going to talk about. But
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm happy to have you on finally. It's been a few months in the making, I would say.
yeah. I mean, the lawsuit got started last year when it initially got started, but I don't know if things take a while for this.
Yeah, I guess so. But I was going to have you on just to kind of talk about your career because you have like
Yeah,
an interesting kind of story to you. And, with the Nate Diaz thing going on, I figured we would do the full story. So I guess we'll get into everything, but I'd like to kind of start it off. You're like you have fought amateur MMA bouts. You also boxed. Just to start off, where are you from exactly?
I'm from Atlantic, Iowa.
Atlantic,
Uh,
Iowa.
yeah,
Okay.
boxing is new to me. I did MMA and kickboxing, but then I stopped doing MMA because my ground game sucked. So I got with that 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and this was in 2016. And I've logged in dozens of jiu-jitsu tournaments, and I am now a blue belt, feeling great on my ground game. I'm gonna get my purple belt, and then I want to do 5 more MMA matches. But I always felt good about my stand-up. But it's my legs that I really liked. I like to kick in.
So you like to kick and stuff like that? That's what you just said?
Kickboxing. I liked kickboxing and Muay Thai.
Okay.
Boxing is weird. It's different. And you got to train specifically for boxing, because if you get a guy who's dedicated to it and training hard specifically for boxing, they're different breeds, you know?
No, yeah, because with the kicks coming and stuff like that, you can't really slip punches exactly the same, right? So you probably got to break some habits you already had with kickboxing, training boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as like getting into MMA, even in the beginning, so you grew up in Iowa, and then like you started with MMA bouts first, correct? Or did
Yeah.
you start with kickboxing?
No, I started with MMA. It came to town. It was with Team Pound Out Productions. Bill Stanton put together a little event in Atlantic, Iowa. And I didn't want to do it. But my buddies, they were like, hey, let's do it together. We're all going to go in there. We're probably all going to lose, but we're going to go in there and have fun. And shit, we all won. We all went in there together, and we ended up winning our first fights. And then we got with the promotion and just logged in fight after fight after fight, while the promoter was bringing us from event to event, getting $200 to $500 per event per person, and only giving us like $25. So he was running a lot of people down, trying to make as much money as he could. So you find some snakes with it. You
Yeah,
learn.
the sport's kind of full of it. I know other fighters too who have kind of dealt with that coming up, where the promoter seems to like take all the money with these younger guys. But overall, when you kind of joined MMA with that group of friends, did you have any experience at that time, like with your first fight, or did you guys like join this and then you're like, all right, let's start training for a fight?
No, I'd never done any wrestling. I didn't do anything like that. No boxing or anything like that growing up. And we started doing cardio and just goofing off with each other. We'd go running, and we were boxing and doing kickboxing with each other. But you know, there wasn't really training.
Not too much
And
training. It was just fun.
yeah, it was fun. Our first fight came. I went 3 rounds in Atlantic, Iowa, against a guy named Troy Mack. And then on out, I logged in 17 fights really, really quick. And within the course of 11 months, I logged in 17 fights. And my record was 10 wins, 6 losses, 1 no contest. And I was a former 185-pound champion belt holder. But the promoter that I was working for was like, taking all that money and trying to screw the fighters. So I stepped away from him, and I ended up getting married. I had 2 kids, and then I got back into fighting. I fought for Tri-State Cage Fighting's last event ever, because I fought for them before 2008 and 9. And I liked the promotion. Dan was a good guy. So he contacted me and said, hey, it's my last event ever. Would you want to fight? And I hadn't been doing any training whatsoever. I had 2 kids at this point in time. And I was like, I know it was my first kid. I had one kid at the time. I was like, yeah, yes, bro, I'd love to fight on your last card ever. Be honored. Thank you. And I ended up fighting a guy named Bob Leathers, and he was 10-5 for a record. And I ended up knocking him out in the first round. And I was like, yeah, this is freaking awesome. And I started going back in. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I wasn't training it. I was being an idiot. I was working. I was doing cardio, but I wasn't really training anymore. So I'd lost 7 fights in a row doing just kickboxing and boxing with my friends. And you got to train hard. You got to take it professionally. So I was like, oh, shit. My stand-up's okay, but I'm getting dominated on the ground every single fight. So I stepped back away from it. I got with 10th plan jiu-jitsu. I got my blue belt. And I said that I'm feeling really good about my ground game now. And I'm going to take 5 more fights when I get my purple belt. But right now, my record is 11 wins, 13 losses, 1 no contest. And I'm a former 185-pound champion belt holder out of Team Pound Up Productions, but like small scale promotion.
Yeah, so because it sounds like you just fell into this, and with no experience, it's kind of crazy that you would do like a kind of like a bucket list thing and sign up for a fight, but then continue and have as many as you've had. So why have you kind of stuck with it in a way? Like, what made you want to keep on fighting when it wasn't really a passion of yours to begin with?
Okay, so much like acting. Okay, when I got into acting with content creation, I had no desire to start it. But once I started it, you fall in love with something. Like, I love martial arts. I love jiu-jitsu. I love it. It is a good sport, and it brought me down and kept me into good shape. And with acting, it's just, I never thought of doing acting. But now that I'm doing it, it's like, man, I love this job. It's freaking awesome. I co-hosted an award ceremony at the Dolby Theater in California. And that's the same spot that they host the Oscars. And they gave me my own dressing room. I was like, this is awesome.